Hello, and welcome to James and the Frames. In today's episode, I'd like to talk for a little bit about some of the parallels between the 2011 film Drive, starring Ryan Gosling and directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, and the 2014 film Nightcrawler, written and directed by Dan Gilroy and starring Jake Gyllenhaal. These two films both have elements that are very similar, and that sometimes contrast with one another. So I'll start with the simplest ones, and work my way into the more complex ones. There are many visual similarities between Drive and Nightcrawler, one big one being the noir or neo-noir aesthetic that these two films share. As well as the depiction of the city of Los Angeles, being that both these films take place in Los Angeles. But by far, the most intriguing aspect of these two films are their main characters. The characters of the driver and Lou Bloom are similar in some ways. They both are lone wolves in search of a real purpose. They're both anti-heroes in a way. They're both really good at what they do. They drive around at night, and they both solve the majority of their problems by using violence. But the similarities stop there. I'm sure there's many differences one can comment on between these two characters, but the one I find most important is the difference between their morality. When I said that they both solve problems by using violence or threatening violence, sure, there's instances where it seems like they both use it in the same way.
You asking me questions. What does this mean? What does that mean?
I feel like grabbing you by your ears right now and screaming in your face, I'm not fucking interested. Instead, I'm gonna drive home and do some accounting.
I got this sweet job coming up.
How about this? Shut your mouth, or I'll kick your teeth down your throat and I'll shut it for you.
But the way they use their bad side and violence are both completely different. In Drive, the driver brings out his bad side because he has to. Under the certain situations that he encounters, he sometimes can't even help not bringing it out to protect the people he cares about. This makes us feel for his character. We want him to shake off the scorpion crawling on his back and become a real human being. Throughout the film, the driver becomes increasingly unhinged until the final burst of anger is released in the infamous elevator scene. Later, the driver then lets that side of him go and rides off into the night. In Nightcrawler, on the other hand, Lou Bloom uses the violent and rotten side of his humanity for his gain, rather than protecting others. Lou uses his violent side to eliminate any threat to his endeavors, or to even spice up his content. He really does not have any empathy whatsoever for his colleagues, or any human being at all. I feel like Lou is basically the moral opposite of the driver, because of the heavy contrast between these two characters, and it's at its sharpest when comparing their morality. The driver uses his violent side to protect and defend, while eventually getting rid of his dark side in the end, while Lou uses it to overpower and cheat, and stays in touch with that side of his personality throughout the rest of his life. Those character aspects make their own respective films that much more engaging. In Drive, we're rooting for the driver to finally overcome his dark side, and in Nightcrawler, well, we watch as Lou Bloom fully embraces it. And if you had to ask me which one to choose over the other, I'd say watch them as a double feature, because they're both classics. Drive is a neo-noir thriller that has great performances, outstanding cinematography, and a really good story that keeps you thoroughly engaged throughout its runtime. And Nightcrawler is a deep and fascinating character study that has one of the best performances I've ever seen from an actor, beautiful cinematography, and a really well-written screenplay. I highly recommend giving both of them a watch, as they are among the best films of the 2010s. And before I go, let me know down in the comments which of these two films is your favorite. I'd really like to know because both of them are really good, and it's always nice to see different opinions. This has been James and the Frames, and I will see you after the credits.